I'm watching season 1, episode 6 of Breaking Bad. In the last episode, we see both Walter and Jesse run into people from their pasts, and we also explore pride with both of these men. Walter goes to a party for an old college buddy and colleague, and we find out that he actually helped to name and to kind of get started this colleague's business that has become quite successful. Not only that, but the colleague is also married to Gretchen, who was the woman that we saw in his flashback in a previous episode. Skylar oversteps her bounds and shares Walter's diagnosis with them, and they end up offering him a job at Gray Matter. And when he turns that down, they also offer to outright pay for his treatment, which again, he turns down. He doesn't want to accept help. You could tell that his pride is a little hurt. He has to admit to people at the party that while he helped to name and found the company, he is a chemistry teacher in high school, and we're still not quite sure why. Then we see Jesse. He's applying for a real job, and he thinks it's going to be in sales, but it turns out it is wearing a costume and spinning a sign outside of this office. Jesse's not comfortable with that. His pride is telling him that that's a little bit below him, and instead he ends up running into his old friend Badger. He and Badger end up cooking out in the desert in the RV, and we see that Jesse's actually grown a lot. He is wearing the safety equipment, he knows the name of all the equipment that he's using, and he's taking a lot of pride in his work. When the product isn't coming out the same way as it did with Walt, he is ready to just dispose of it, not even use it, and he's more concerned with the quality and what they are providing to the customers. So they end up getting together at the end, Walter and Jesse, they come back together, and I just find it's funny because Walter, he has these people, his friend, his old colleague, who is very successful, pushing him almost down, like his pride, and running into this friend, it almost feels like he's sinking down to cook meth, whereas Jesse, his friend that he runs into from his past, is elevating him, is making him take pride in his work and be more serious. So it's just funny that, the opposite ends of the spectrum are pushing Walter and Jesse together. Skylar has a family meeting, not an intervention, for Walt, where they all share their feelings. And I was so proud of Marie because, I stood up for the sex worker in the previous episode, saying you don't know what's gone on in someone's life, and no one is fully good or fully bad. We all have a lot of nuance in our life. So while I never really loved Marie in the past episodes, I was so proud of her because you could really, a good test of somebody's character is how they perform in somebody else's time of need, like how they show up and how they react in an emergency. And Marie, who is in the medical field, and she said that she performs x-rays for people in Walter's condition all the time. She has compassion, she sees what they go through, and she has the emotional intelligence to not just go along with Skylar's plan and to say, you know what, this is Walt's life. I see people in his shoes all the time, and a lot of them are absolutely miserable. So I'm not going to tell him to just take the money and get the treatment. I want him to know that he has a choice, and this choice is up to him. And I love that she did that. Ultimately, we see that Walt does agree to get the treatment, and then he goes, to meet with Jesse to cook and have the money that he can pay outright for this treatments himself so that he doesn't have to borrow from family. But going back to that family meeting, Walter talks about feeling like he never had a choice in his life and choices are always made for him. And that really got me thinking about, we heard about Gray Matter. We don't really know why Walter's not a part of it anymore, but we also saw a lot of Walt Jr. in this episode, and him kind of acting out to his father not being present, to being sick. And at the family meeting, he talks about, what if you gave up on me? And it makes me think that possibly maybe when Walt Jr. was born and he had medical complications, the money and time and everything that it took to address a child with medical needs, maybe that's why Walter had to step aside and start teaching, because he needed the money right away. He couldn't really chip away at that business with his colleague, and that's just where my mind went after that episode, so I could be totally wrong, but that's just another thing I thought about that I wanted to bring up. I think I've talked long enough, so let's get into episode 6. Snow? It's never what I think it is. Rain? Dust? Bullet holes? Not exactly the same condition Walter left it in when he left Jesse last time. A helicopter came through.
Let's get something straight. The chemistry is my realm. Out there on the street, you deal with that.
What happened on the street?
As far as our customers go, I don't want to know anything about them. I want no interaction with them whatsoever. This operation is you and me, and I'm the silent partner. Have you got any issues with that?
I feel bad for Jesse because Walter doesn't know how hard he was trying in the previous episode, and he just comes in and sees the remains.
No matter what happens, no more bloodshed.
Famous last words.
No violence.
Uh-oh. Oh boy, what an intro. And there are sirens going off in my neighborhood like crazy right now, so I'm feeling very immersed.
You alright?
Oh, yeah.
She is there when it counts.
You know, actually, it would make me feel a little better knowing that you were there when Walter Jr. gets home from school.
Okay. Oh, and have you been in touch with Elliot? Because, I haven't seen a check from him.
Yes, I got it. It came last week, and I put it right into my credit union accounts. Yeah. So we're good.
We're good.
Not deposit this until Monday.
Call if the discomfort's too much. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Also, what I didn't mention at the beginning with Walter and his choices and him saying like he felt they were all made for him, did like he give up at a point? Because I don't want to like be totally mean to Skylar because she was very pushy in making the decisions in the first episode, but I'm wondering if Walter at some point, especially when gray matter went under, he couldn't be...
Chemical reactions involve change on two levels.
But did
matter
Skylar have to step up and start
energy.
making those choices?
When a reaction is gradual, the change in energy is slight. I mean, you don't even notice the reaction is happening. But if a reaction happens quickly, otherwise harmless substances can interact in a way that generates enormous bursts of energy.
Talking about himself again.
Like an explosion?
Like the explosion we saw at the beginning?
Yes, good. Faster they undergo change, the more violent the explosion.
Walter's going through a lot of changes very quickly. And to have to teach while going through chemo, too.
I got it, Mr. White. Don't worry. You got kids to teach.
Does the rest of the school know what he's going through?
Thanks, Hugo.
Ugh, beautiful sky. It's making me miss Gloucester.
He's starting to lose weight.
You know, to feel the difference when I put my arms around him.
When you don't let me in, when you don't tell me what's going on. I mean, it's like I feel like you don't even want me around sometimes.
Is there anything else you're holding back from your family?
I cook meth.
Well,
We could come up with a good lie. Come on.
I like to be alone. I mean, at times. And it's not about you, really.
Alone time can be helpful. For some types.
I like to go on walks. I really enjoy the nature. It's really very therapeutic.
Going through chemo and being around all those chemicals, that cannot be good. I'm still also freaking out because the DEA and Hank know about an RV in the desert, so they're going to be looking for it. He's going to have to rely on Jesse more for the chemistry. Does Jesse know yet?
Yeah. When were you gonna tell me?
Tell you what.
Cancer. You got it, right?
That's his aunt whose house he inherited.
My aunt had one of those dots on her to target the radiation. What is it, in your lung? I'm your partner, man. You should have told me. What stage are you?
3A.
Onto your lymph nodes.
He must have really loved his aunt.
Your aunt. How bad was she when they caught it?
Bad enough. She didn't last long. I get it now. That's why you're doing all this. You want to make some cash for your people before you check out. You gonna be able to finish the batch?
No. You do it.
Skylar said, Sometimes it's okay to rely on those around you.
Go on, here. You do it. You can do it.
Apply yourself.
Next time, put an ice pack on your head during chemo. My aunt said it helped with the hair loss.
You can do it, Jesse. Let's make Walt proud. Let's take some pride in this. I'm really cheering for somebody to make good meth right now. He's got his safety equipment on. Just the Crystal Palace.
What's this? Ab says they pulled up an imprint of some old writing used to be on the inside, an old magic marker or something. Property of J.P. Wynn Chemistry Lab. That's Walt School.
Oh, and Jesse's there now? Oh. There's just a lot of close calls going on. Around the same time this premiered, a couple months before this premiered, when I was a freshman in college, like I said, Darren Aronofsky, the director, came out with a bunch of anti-meth commercials, and for some reason I was, like, obsessed with watching them. Me, who, like, never drank, never nothing, I, for some reason, was just like, this is very good, this is very informative. I definitely will never do meth.
Prepaid cell phone. Use it.
There's the chemo payment.
Is that all? $26,000?
No, that's $2,600. You think it's cake moving a pound of meth 1/10 at a time?
I am breaking the law here. This return is too little for the risk. I thought you'd be ready for another pound today.
You may know a lot about chemistry, man, but you don't know jack about slinging dope.
Fair enough.
We have to move our product in bulk, wholesale. Now, how do we do that? We need a distributor now. Do you know anyone like that?
Yeah, I mean, I used
Yeah,
to.
we killed them.
Until you killed him.
Who took Crazy Eight's place?
Some guy named Tuco.
Tuco. Okay, so then just go talk to Tuco.
Hey, you just don't understand the way it works. You can't just bum rush some high-level Iceman and start cutting deals. Look, I'm telling you, Mr. White, it's too risky. I mean, we're making money. Why can't you just be satisfied with the way it is?
Come on! Jesus! Just grow some fucking balls!
Jeez. I mean, this is years of pent-up rage. Jesse does not deserve it. Where's the ice pack?
Wait till Monday again.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Mr. White. Thank you, Hugo.
Hugo's a good guy.
Are you up for having a visitor?
Hey, buddy.
Hank.
Well, let me know if you need anything, huh?
So what are you doing here?
Well, I had some questions I wanted to run by you. Do you recognize that?
Huh?
Well, that was used to cook meth. Found it out on some Indian land about 40 miles from here. We found it near an abandoned car. It belonged to one of our snitches.
Snitch?
Any respirators like that go missing lately?
No.
I'll need to take a look at that inventory.
Sure.
Right, so who's got keys? The science faculty, the staff, Carmen, the vice principal, has the master, and me.
How about students?
No.
Look, I know they're your students, but do not underestimate them. Big mistake. Because I'm counting 6. Inventory says 8. Glassware looking a little sparse.
Is it?
Yeah. You're missing a couple Erlenmeyer flasks at least. Oh, yeah. Meth heads love to brew in this baby.
He knows.
You gonna answer that? Well, maybe it's Skylar. She's in trouble or something. I mean, shit, don't ignore it on my account. Answer it. Come on, I got stuff to do.
It's gonna be Jesse, isn't it?
Yo, what's up, Mr. W?
Speaking.
A bad time to talk?
Absolutely.
So just listen. Hey, so you know that guy we were talking about, Tuco? Turns out my boy Skinny Pete was in the same cell block with him over at Los Lunas. So we got her in.
Okay, then. Well, thank you very much for calling.
Hey, look, buddy, the last thing I want to do is get you in hot water. But some meth monkey had a feeding frenzy in here. You got to keep better watch over your turf.
It's a good thing he
We
underestimates
don't want
Walt.
people to start wondering about you.
Is he gonna notice that Walt was answering a different phone, though? Oh, so this is the building that explodes before. Walt's just gonna take out everyone, huh?
Yeah, man, that's what's happened.
Jesse is really putting himself in danger for Walt. He doesn't want to disappoint him.
No need, man. Me and Tuco go back. Tuco, what's happening, my brother? Yeah, Jesse, the dude with the glass I was telling you about. Break out the ice. Take a walk.
No worries, man. I'm no cop.
I said, hit it. This kicks like a mule with his balls wrapped in duct tape. Wow!
It's that fast.
Who are you working for?
No one, man. I mean, I have a partner that I cook with, but that's it.
We got a deal.
Cool. I haven't said how much.
I think he's gonna tell you how much.
All right. How much?
35 large for the pound.
Whoa, you're a little light, I said. It's all right, don't sweat it. It's all good. It's good.
He just
Come
did
on, get outta
exactly
here.
what Hank did.
What about the money?
You'll get it.
It's just, you know, I don't do business that way.
Tough shit, the deal is done. Come on. Oh.
Jesse, you really thought you were gonna get away? Well, he's high.
All right, you brought me some really clean crystal. Woo. Do you really want your money in front?
Yeah, I knew it was too easy.
Nobody moves crystal in the South Valley but me, bitch!
Morning, Hugo.
Oh no, Hugo's so. Oh, I hope he doesn't have to take the fall.
Uncle Hank's arresting Mr. Archuleta. Hey, Uncle Hank, why were you arresting Mr. Archuleta the other day?
Turns out he has a record. We figured he was the guy that was stealing your school's chemistry gear. Fit the profile. And when we searched his truck, we found a big old fat blunt.
Just a blunt, and he was laughing about how Hank smokes weed.
For what it's worth, Hugo just doesn't strike me as a thief.
Another personal walt, but you wouldn't know a criminal if he was close enough to check you for a hernia.
Well, Hank, you're gonna be surprised in the future,
We
I'm
got
sure.
a search warrant and we tore old Hugo's house apart, but he didn't raid your chemistry set. You hiding something?
I absolutely hate card games.
What's gonna happen to him? Hugo.
Oh, he's gonna lose his job, like he should. Probably spend a couple months in county, because it's not his first rap. You gonna man up or you gonna puss out?
Walt is feeling a lot of guilt right now, and I think he's pretty mad at Hank.
I'm all in. Bad, horrible liar. Nope. Not falling for it, buddy. I fold.
Oh, God, you threw away an ace?
What are you doing?
And a cowboy? Oh. A handful of nothing.
Maybe Walt's a better liar after all. Starting.
Who is this? I was dialing Jesse Pinkman. Well, where is he then?
Damn.
You the guy? Yeah, I'm the guy. Tell me about this Tuco. Tell me everything about him.
Take some cranberry pills there. There's the 30 to 40 pills a day he said he didn't want to take. It's a good look. He pulls it off.
Badass dad.
Skylar begged him to do the treatment. She knew what would happen. Well, with the buzzed head, he definitely looks like he belongs there.
I want to talk to Tuco, and I'm not leaving until I do.
What's your name? Heisenberg.
Heisenberg.
I don't imagine I'll be here very long.
No? Why don't you start talking and tell me what you want?
$50,000. 35 for the pound of meth you stole, and another 15 for my partner's pain and suffering.
Oh, yeah. I remember that little bitch. I steal your dope. Beat the piss out of your mule boy. And then you walk in here and you bring me more meth?
You got one part of that wrong. This is not meth.
Oh. Oh, there's the explosion. Oh, there's glass.
Are you fucking nuts?
You want to find out?
No, Gonzo, calma.
I was wondering how he
You
snuck
got
something in.
balls. I'll give you that crystal that your partner brought me. It sold faster than $10 ass in TJ. Let's say you bring me another pound next week.
Crazy recognize crazy.
Money up front.
Money up front.
1 pound is not gonna cut it. You have to take 2.
Orderly.
You said it sold faster than everybody else.
Hey, what is that shit?
Fulminated mercury. A little tweak of chemistry.
I hope there's really money in there. He really needed that win. That was episode 6. So, I will admit that I knew the Heisenberg name came into play at some point. It's just one of those, cultural things where it's like, even if you didn't watch Game of Thrones, you know that there's dragons in it. You've probably heard of Khaleesi. So when it came to Breaking Bad, it's just one of those cultural things where I'd definitely seen the signs and seen people with the t-shirts of the wanted sign with Heisenberg on it. So it's one of those things I knew, but it was so satisfying to see play out. I think Walt was feeling a lot of guilt this episode because people that he's friends with or people that he's close with, Hugo, who was helping him out, they were showing Hugo a lot, and I was getting a little nervous that something bad was going to happen to him. And of course he gets framed, or the DEA and Hank think that just because he has prior records and that he smokes pot, that he's the person that was possibly stealing from the chemistry lab. And unfortunately he crossed paths with Walt, and now he's lost his job. Then Jesse, also, who works with Walt, he is trying to make Walt proud. He's trying to live up to his end. He doesn't want to let him down, especially knowing that he has cancer now. So he goes to Tuco and he suffers the consequences. And like I said, when Walt is feeling out of control, when he just feels like the decisions in his life are being made for him and he doesn't have any control or say over them, he gets a little violent. And I think when we see him achieving these win moments, like when he is finally making decisions and taking control, and he feels good afterwards, when that car exploded, when he just I guess the name Heisenberg is really fitting, when he used this fulminated, so whatever he did, the fake crystal, to cause the explosion. We see afterwards how excited and in control he feels, which I think is definitely a slippery slope. I think that the chemistry, sometimes it takes a long time to see a chemical change, and sometimes it happens very quickly. So we see the chemo and the effect that it's having on his body, and how quickly he's lost his hair and he's getting skinny and he decides to go bald, and also just how quickly outside forces are changing him. Seeing Jesse in the hospital bed and knowing that Jesse was trying to just fulfill his wishes and help him, and he's in that hospital bed partially because of Walter, because of himself. So he just went Heisenberg. Hank and Walt are having way too many close calls for my liking, and I just wonder how long it's going to take. I feel like he's going to catch on to Jesse before Walt. I thought that was Jesse's mask and they were possibly going to get his DNA off of it, but I'm thinking that Hank, having gone into the school and knowing it's not Hugo now, is going to try and make connections to students, even prior students, and he's going to look at who has records, who has prior convictions, and who took classes with Walt in the chemistry lab. So I think that our path goes to Jesse first before Walt, and I just wonder how long it's going to take us to get there. If now that Walt knows how close Hank is getting, if he could kind of adjust paths. Now that they have money, they don't have to steal from the school anymore. They can get their equipment through other means. So that is episode 6, and now we are headed into the finale. So I will see you in episode 7.